Aaron Wilson just tweeted this 35 minutes ago. The Texans still want a package of 3 first-round picks, other draft capital, and players in exchange for Watson. So I kind of think what he's saying is like, you see what they got for Russell? The 2 1s, 2 2s, and 3 players. And really, 2 of them are starters. Shelby Harris, immediate starter. Noah Fant, immediate starter. And say what you want about Drew Lock. It just gives you an extra quarterback that has played in the NFL. It's not, I don't like him like Seattle likes him, but he's a backup quarterback. That's a lot. They're asking for the same package, but with an extra one. And for as great as he is, given what he just went through, and I know his agents tweeting, pumping their chests, like it's still like a little bit like it's a little weird, but it is what it is. I do wonder if teams, if he had no issues off the field, I think he would get a historic package, right? Because I think DJ was saying this on his podcast, and he's right. Like, we make such a big deal over like Russell Wilson trade or whenever Deshaun's ultimately traded. The Niners just traded 3 1s and a 3 for Trey Lance, right? For an unknown. We see it in the draft. I mean, someone listed the other day all the picks Carson Wentz has been traded for in his life. It's kind of crazy, right? Because the Eagles traded up to get him. Then the Eagles traded him for a 1, and then he was just traded for a 3rd that might become a 2. Like, if you just add it up, I think it was like 3 1s, 2 2s, and potentially 3 3. I mean, it's an astronomical amount of picks. And obviously, like 80% of those go back to when he was unknown coming out of college. So we'll see, man. I think these 2 guys are going to get traded in the next 24 hours, 48 hours. Like, these guys are, I think both guys, well, Jimmy for sure. I guess I could see some teams having some reservations on Deshaun, right? Because it's not all over. Like, he's still fighting civil cases. But if I was a betting man, I'd say both these guys are on new teams by the start of free agency, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, especially because Garoppolo, you feel like they need that money off of their books so they can start spending money, hopefully, on Wednesday, right? For the Niners
Same with
specifically.
Texans, that's $35 million, right?
Yeah, that's true. Now, yeah, you're right. The Texans, it used to be less. That's the other thing with them. It used to be less money. Like, his cap hit last year was $15 million, Deshaun's. So, like, to keep Deshaun on their roster last year was much cheaper than it is to do it right now. He goes from a $15 million cap hit last year to a $40 million cap hit this year, which is a lot of cap to carry around, but it's not that much for if you think you get a star quarterback. That's what Kirk Cousins cost you, right?
And didn't last year, is he on the team last year if they had to pay him $35 million? Because remember, they only had to actually pay him $10 million.
$10 million bucks. Yeah,
I wonder if he's on the team at $35 million. I doubt it.
Austin says the PR situation is still a lot to swallow. I mean, look, ultimately, he was not charged on Friday. He still faces 22 separate lawsuits, civil suits.
A lot.
Yeah, which is an astronomical amount. But we've seen it time and time again. Teams consistently show. They don't care if you're guilty. They don't care if you're innocent. They just care what is the legal punishment you are facing. And then they can take whatever league punishment you're facing, right? What now? Is the league going to suspend him for a year? Okay, if that's going to happen, I'm not trading 4 1s. Are they going to suspend him for 4 games? 4 games are over so fast that won't make a team blink. And I think at this point, teams now just go, it's open season on the acquisition. Mary Kay wrote the Browns have been doing the due diligence. The Panthers, this is what Jeremy Fowler wrote. I'm told the Panthers have been extremely aggressive in their effort to get him. And they could be a team to watch. They've done extensive background work on the situation to the point where they're comfortable acquiring him. Okay, that's what Jeremy Fowler wrote in ESPN. Seattle checked in on the situation. Most people I talked to don't expect the Seahawks to be in the mix. Philly was interested last year, but they got the sense he didn't want to go there. The guy's got a no-trade clause.
Which is a pretty big deal. Like, for as much as we're talking, he does control the situation because he can say no to any team. Now, part of it is, like, they're going to allow him to talk. One thing the Carolina Panthers have going for them that I would say is different even than the Saints or even the Browns, the Browns, because they were shittier this year, the 13th overall pick. The Carolina Panthers have the 6th overall pick. And part of trading Deshaun Watson to any of these teams, I think you'd have to assume they're going to be in the playoffs next year. Even if it's a one-and-done situation, that's pick 22, right? Or 21 or 23. So a huge part of my trade, I would want, if I'm the Texans, I want to push him toward Carolina, right? because I truly don't give a shit where he goes. Like, I think there's only one team off limits that would be in the quarterback market. Would be like, you would just not trade him to Indianapolis under no circumstances. Do you agree? Like, I can't do a divisional trade with a guy this good that plays quarterback. Not when I have other options. I think it's 100% off the table.
Yeah,
You're not as big a believer in division.
Not when I know. I think it'd be really hard when you know he's about to come back and play. It's one thing if you're like 50-50 he ever plays again. He could get indicted and go to jail. Let's send him to the Colts for 3-1s if that's what was being offered. But that's not the way the situation looks right now. So I think there's, I think there's something to that.
I do not think you can trade great players in the division.
To me, there's a difference. Yeah, I mean, to me, there's just a difference in compensation. Like, it's like everything else. It's just, what does it cost? How much am I giving up by trading him to the Colts? The Colts offering me 3-1s and the Panthers are offering me nothing, right?
And the reality is the Colts are a moot point. They don't even have a 1. So to me, they're not.
Yeah, no, understood. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, these things are always kind of relative, I think. And for the most part, they're probably all kind of close. You're not often in that situation, right, where someone's offering you 4-1s and no one else is even offering you 3. So I'm with you in that. Yeah, I'm with you there.
I do think if you're the Texans, you desperately want to try to get him to Carolina. Because part of this is you're going to rebuild with these picks. You immediately get the 6th pick. That means by the time the 6th pick happens, you've had 2 picks. You can really restart your franchise with 2 top 6 players. And it's not quite the pressure of drafting 1. Like, they get to draft 3, so you could just take like Kyle Hamilton and some sweet offensive linemen. And boom, you just get a core of 2 really good players. You get rid of them, you get rid of the money, and you can use the money now. But again, like, it's gonna be on him where to go, and who the fuck knows? I know. I mean, let's be real. We haven't heard this guy talk, or really his opinions now, in a long time. Like, he's kind of been. Deshaun? He hasn't been out of sight, out of mind because his name has been. But we don't see this guy interact. Like, I've lost touch with the human being. Like, I got a good feel for Lamar Jackson. I got a good feel for Mahomes and Josh Allen. I got no feel for this guy anymore. Is he scarred over the situation? Is he going to come back just acting normal? I don't know.
I do think that's where Carolina, if I were him, even though it's like, all right, their offensive line sucks. I don't really know if their head coach is somebody, I don't know if he has a relationship with Matt Rule. Maybe Matt probably didn't recruit him once upon a time, but Matt was coaching at like Temple when Deshaun Watson was going to, Clemson. But it is 2.5 hours from Clemson. Like, maybe there's something to be said for go back to an area where some people where people, have rooted for you in the past. I don't know. Maybe that's
he's from Georgia, so it's that area.
Charlotte is 2 hours from Clemson. So McCaffrey, I would imagine if you're Carolina, you'd be more inclined to keep McCaffrey around, which would be an attractive thing for Deshaun.